Welcome to BDJ Daily Torah, a service of B'nai David Judaic Congregation in Los Angeles. Here is Assistant Rabbi David Stein.
We were talking last night about how to blow the tekiah and the Shevarim and the Teruah. But today I want to talk about exactly what the kolot are supposed to sound like. We've been talking about how to sound them and how many to sound, but what should they actually sound like? So there's two kind of criteria that we'll talk about tonight, and the first is the length of each of the tekiyot and Teruot and Shevarim. So it starts the Mishnah. The Mishnah says that shiur tekiah kishlosh Teruot. The length of a tekiah is supposed to be the length of 3 Teruot. And the shiur of a Teruah is kishlosh yevavot. What does that mean? And so there's a lot of different opinions about how to understand this. There's a Braita that sounds very different than this. And there emerges a couple of different shitot. So Rashi kind of takes this and says that actually the length of a tekiah should be the length of 3 Teruot. And he thinks that the shofar sound actually, we do like a staccato, seems, according to Rashi, he would actually think that the Teruah is supposed to you only need 3. But many others disagree with this. And the Rambam is also interesting. The Rambam comes down and says that the length of the tekiah has to be twice the length of a Teruah. But ultimately, the Shulchan Aruch kind of brings down almost all of the opinions, but he quotes the kind of most prominent one, which is that the Teruah should have 9 notes, and that the Shevarim should have 3 notes. So, and that's generally how we do it. He also mentions that there's no ceiling to this. So your tekiah has to be the length of your teruah, which has to be the length of 3 of your shevarim. So these have to be kind of similar lengths. However, those are minimums. In other words, your tekiah could actually be longer, right? We do this with the tekiah gedola. Your tekiah could be longer, but the real concern here is that if you don't have the right relative lengths, like let's say your tekiah is shorter, well, then it might start sounding like a shvarim, right? If your shvarim are shorter, it might start sounding like a teruah. So the shiur here is that we have a tekiah, the length of 3 of your shvarim, which is the length of 9 of your Teruot at a minimum. But again, he says, it's okay if you make these a little longer, and you should make your tekiah of the Shevarim Shua equal to those as well. But okay, that's the length. But the other question is, what about the sound? How should the different kolot sound? And here the Shulchan Aruch also says that all sounds are kosher for your shofar. And so, if you make a loud sound, a thinner sound, a quieter sound, the Shulchan Aruch says that all of the sounds are kosher. The question that comes up is the question of whether you can change the sound in the middle of your tekiah. We have this, right, where your not your tekiah, where your shevarim sounds like a tu two, instead of a two, two, two. And so there's some that actually say that the Shulchan Aruch is limiting. It isn't saying, well, any sound you make, it could change in its, change in its pitch or anything like that. It has to be one constant sound, but that sound could be, could have different tones, it could have different volumes and so on and so forth. And yet many others say that, in fact, it's okay for your shvarim to change. And to be Olevi or red, to really kind of change in its tone. And ultimately, I think our ballet tekiah, someone will have to correct me, make different shvarim sounds. They make different shvarim sounds. So it's exactly on day one and day two we have exactly.
You've been listening to BDJ Daily Torah, a service of B'nai David Judea Congregation in Los Angeles. To learn more about our synagogue, visit b'naidavid.com.